Howdy YouTube, Eznix here with a video for you. This is partly a news update for Ezarcher, just to let everyone know there's a new set of ISOs up as of um, May 31st. It's now June 2nd or 3rd or something like that. So they've been up a couple days. People have already been discovering them. It's really just an update to my project, various ISOs. People are starting to download them, which is nice. I haven't heard any feedback, positive or negative, which is usually a good sign. The project files have been all updated, so those are ready to go. I've left the previous release up just in case the new release does have a problem that I didn't discover. In time, when I do the next release, I'll probably keep the previous and get rid of the older ones. The only real difference, besides all the package updates, there was a new Arch ISO version that came out. Didn't really affect the build process, at least at my end. Yeah, there are behind the scenes things that have changed, but nothing that affected the build process. The new ISOs do have timeshift included. Timeshift is now in the official Arch repositories, so I felt it was a good idea to put it into the new ISOs. Other than that, all the other software packages remain the same. So take a look. Ezarcher is the project name under SourceForge. However, Ezarcher is the official title. This video, however, is more about Calam Arch Installer. Calam Arch is an Arch-based spin. It includes an online installer that allows you to select from one of, 9 different GUI environments. So we're going to take a look at Calam Arch and run an installation in Virt Manager QEMU. That gives a good idea of what the process is without tying to specific hardware. I find hardware installs and reviews, one, they're a pain in the ass to do because you have to set up an external camera or have video capture on the machine you're doing the install. It's really a pain to do that, and it's not necessary, certainly not necessary, to show the installation process and how an installation should work. Now, virtual machines, I know a lot of people have problems with virtual machine demos and videos because they feel it's not real hardware. That's missing the point of a demonstration. Demonstration is supposed to show how things should work, and your own hardware, I can't duplicate that. I have no idea what you're watching this on or what you're installing Arch on. So it's almost pointless to do a hardware install. It bears no resemblance to any particular viewer, and if it does, that's just by chance. So virtual machine installs are a great way to show what an installation should look like. So let's go over to the Calam Arch booted up in Virt Manager. And I stopped before booting the desktop because I wanted to show you that in Calam Arch, the GNU Grub version is 2.2.06. Now the current most recent Grub is 2.2.12, and this is a little disturbing to me that Calam Arch is choosing to withhold or hold back the Grub version they're using for their ISO. Makes me wonder what other packages are not fresh. We're getting a very stale version of grub here. Now, when you install Calam Arch, since it's a live installer, you're pulling the most recent grub. So in a way, it doesn't affect the installed version. But why? It leads me to believe why they choose to stick with an old version of grub for their build system. Makes no sense to me. So let's go ahead and boot this up. This is, as I said, Virt Manager, and we're running with an EFI emulated system. So I'll boot it up, we'll get to a desktop, and we'll probably make it larger, full screen for you. So the systemd version is the most current at the moment. That's a good sign. But grub being quite old on the ISO, as I said, it leads me to believe or question what else is outdated here. This release of the Calam Arch ISO was just released on the 31st of May 2024. The grub version that's current, the 2.2.12, last updated in March 17th, I believe. So what's going on, Calam Arch? Okay, so we're here at this screen, which wants us to run Reflector Simple, and it opened too big in order to see the buttons, which is weird. So let's go ahead and run it just in case. So we're getting the mirrors ranked here, and hopefully we should be getting this done soon. Since it's an online installer, it's Calamares, but it's using the online mode of Calamares. We do want to make sure the mirrors are up to date and fresh. So let's go ahead. I don't know why it's giving us the option to save. It should just save. Okay, cool. So this is the desktop. Let's increase the resolution here. So settings, there we go. Display. Let's do 1440 by 9 and keep that. And as I said, let's make this bigger. There we go. So I know my camera, my webcam, is going to take up part of the screen. But hopefully we'll get a good idea of what's going on through the install here. Now we don't have an installer icon on the desktop. That's fine. We can go into the menus and go to System, and we see Install Arch Linux. There's also Install Clone Restore Linux with some Russian in the comment line, or the whatever it's called. Let's go with Install Arch Linux. It is the Calamares Installer. Let's see which version we're at. Okay, at least we're using the most current version of Calamares. That's good. Let's go ahead and do next. It did pick up our region. It did pick up English US, default keyboard. Okay. Now, let's do erase disk. And what are our choices here? We have swap, no swap, swap with hibernate, swap to file. Let's do swap no hibernate. Okay, we're not given a choice of file systems. It is doing ext4, which is fine by me. That's what I'd choose if I did have a choice. But I find it interesting that we don't have a choice. EFI system partition 300 megabytes. Already I have a problem there. I much prefer the EFI system partition to be a full gig, 1024 megabytes for those who don't do the conversion. 300 I find is constricting, possibly. If you only stick with one kernel, it should be enough, but these days the Intel or the AMD U-code is built into the initramfs image, which bloats that up a bit. So 300 megabytes may not even be enough for one kernel. It's certainly not going to be enough if you want to install, say, an LTS or a Zen kernel alongside the kernel you're getting. Okay, let's do next. Now here we have our desktop choices. Let's go ahead and pick something. Let's just pick ext4. That's my favorite. I know that's the desktop we're looking at as well for the live image. So let's do next. And now we have package selection. So base devel, good to have that checked by default. Some driver options, we don't need any of those for this installation. The desktop, printing support, we don't really need. Web browsers, let's see what we have here. Firefox, Chromium, and Opera. Let's do Firefox. Next. Okay. Let's do our username. Let's do our password. Use same password for administrator, that's fine. I don't like auto login. So next. Here's our summary. Let's install. Now this may take a little while. It's going to have to download all of the packages during this installation. I don't really have a way of pausing the video here. So let's try to find something to do while this is doing its job. We can minimize that. Let's take a look around the system here. Now, I wonder if we're going to get all of the packages installed in the Xfce desktop that we have on the live ISO. So let's take a look at some of the options we're given here. We have Arc for working with compressed files. GNOME disks, it's very good. File Roller is another compression utility. Why do we need Arc and File Roller? Don't know. LeafPad and Mousepad, don't need two simple text editors. PCOM X Compositor, don't really need that with Xfce, don't know why it's here. Xfce has its own built-in compositor. C development, pretty typical. Graphics, we have a one image viewer, good. Internet, we have Firefox, Modem Manager, and LFTP. Avahi server browser is here too. Multimedia, we have Parole Player, comes with Xfce. Pulse Audio Volume Control. VLC, don't know why we need that for media. It is a more complete media option than Parole, but why include both on the ISO? And XFburn. Office, we have a dictionary program. Find it odd that we don't have a PDF reader. That would be possibly handy. Settings, let's see, add remove software. So PAMAC is included. That would be the add remove software option. Bluetooth Manager is here. Let's see, NVIDIA server settings, okay. The NVIDIA drivers are present on the ISO. And when I didn't point this out when we were booting, but you could choose free or non-free drivers when you boot. Let's see. The rest are all very typical things. System add ADM for managing system D units. This is a rather ancient package. I don't know how good it is. It's something that's not been maintained for years, so I'm not really sure why they have it. System itself, add remove software, okay. Gparted, good. It's probably one of the best partitioning packages around. HTOP, okay. The installer and the install clone restore. Light DM greeter settings, okay. Modem manager, reflector simple, that's what was running when we booted into the desktop. System monitor, system profile and benchmark. Thunar, of course. We have Terminator, multiple terminals in one window. We have Xterm, and Xfce terminal. So at least three different terminal emulators, and a link to add system ADM again. Okay, so pretty minimal. A couple of duplicative software packages, especially in the accessories group there, but otherwise pretty minimal. So we have some monitors up here in the taskbar, very small clock and calendar. Language selection, okay. Network activity monitor, network control. Computer, what's computer? Presentation mode and settings. Don't really know what that is. Okay, let's take a look at the file manager here. Okay, let's see. File system. Not really sure what I'm looking for, if anything. Let's go into etc. I'm curious about some of the Calamares settings. I do not see the Calamares folder under etc. So I'm now curious where they've buried the Calamares settings. Let's take a look in the likely area, USR share. USR share does hold a lot of settings files. Let's see, Arch ISO, of course, and Calamares, there we go. Okay, modules. Let's take a look at the modules here. Bootloader, grub, we knew that. Okay, the rest of this is pretty standard. FS tab, let's take a look here. Okay, this hasn't been changed from Calamares defaults. Init CPIO, what kernel are we getting? We're just getting the standard Linux kernel, that's fine. Mount, let's take a look at mount. Okay, that's all standard. Subvolumes. See, I'm not sure why they're including this, because we're not given the option of a BTRFS file system. I guess it would apply if you're doing manual partitioning. Then you should be able to control the file system. So yeah, we do need this. Mount options, these are examples. Here are what's actually being used. So we're getting default no wait time for most file systems, ext4 included. For the EFI file system, we're getting these options. For BTRFS, we're getting these options. And then for BTRFS swap, we're getting those options. That's fine. That's all very standard settings there. I don't use those. I prefer others, but I don't have much of a complaint there. Packaged user stuff, that's all because of the live mode of the installer. Partition. So here is where we're getting our 300 megabyte EFI partition size from. And it's going to be mounted at boot/EFI. It's very standard mount point for EFI, especially when using grub. The rest of this is all pretty standard stuff. Yeah. Post config. What's post config? So it's setting up the Arch Linux keyring and the Manjaro. Oh, because PAMAC's included. So that's why we're setting up Manjaro keyrings. Okay. Take a look at users. So those are the groups the user will be added to. Okay, that's all boilerplate stuff. Welcome. All boilerplate settings. Okay, nothing particularly interesting. That's all. Most of this is standard Calamares default settings. Even the EFI system partition stuff is. So I don't like it. I don't want to use those, but that's what we're getting with Calam Arch here. See how the installer is running. Okay, I guess we've downloaded everything we're installing right now. Hopefully it won't take too much longer. You know what? Let's take a peek. We'll minimize that again. Let's go back to the web here. Look at the SourceForge project page. See if their discussion area. Okay, it has some recent discussion. Calam live password. Wonder what that is. We don't need it to log in. It auto logged in at startup for us. Don't have a user password. There is no user password. You can type sudo. Okay. Very good. Well, someone has a problem, obviously. It's hard to say. A lot of problems are user error. Some aren't, but a lot are. NVIDIA non-free driver issues back in March. Let's see, kernel option during install. Someone wants that. Okay. What's this? After, this is a little old, a few months now. Let's see, after installation on BTRFS, never boots. With the ext4, all's okay. Okay, not getting much help. I guess there was a problem with BTRFS. We didn't choose that during our install because we didn't go the manual partitioning route. Okay, so that's their discussion area. If you look at files, you can see Arch Installer, and there's the one ISO package list. Okay. Let's go over to reviews. I have quite a few reviews. 4.0 average rating. Okay. Very recent. For some reason, KDE Plasma does not load. Only other work environments are working. Okay. Here's one that just says cool. Not really helpful. This installer works greatly for me, although I want to warn that the devs that the Mate and Cinnamon screenshots are inverted. Okay. Here's one from November, 1 star. PAMAC is not in the ISO. They probably fixed that since then. It certainly appears to be in the ISO now. Let's take a quick peek back here, and we're still installing packages. Okay, well, we'll just wait it out. When I'm recording with OBS Studio, I don't see an easy way to pause and continue the video without having to then merge two video files, remux the video, or however it's put together from two files back into one. So I really don't pause OBS recorded videos, which means we just have to wait it out. We can go back to Ezarcher for a moment. So there's not a whole lot of discussion going on in my discussion area. The reviews on mine are mostly positive, similar rating, 4.5 stars. I did get a lowest rating back in several months ago. You can read the review. Most of my ratings are 5 stars, 4 stars. But every so often there's one bonehead in this case who just doesn't know how to use a computer well. I'll leave it at that. Okay, so that's Ezarcher project again. Oh, as usual, my Ezarcher is also available on archive.org. If you just search Ezarch, you will get the previous version and the current version. You can download from here as well if SourceForge is not working too well for you. Show all. You have all the ISOs right here and all the screenshots here as well as all the project files. So on archive.org, each release is self-contained in its own directory. It's a little easier, I think. Although the file list looks intimidating, it's really not. Okay, let's go back. Oh, we're almost done. Yay. Let's make it bigger. We're done. Cool. Done. You know what? I don't want to reboot in full screen. I'd prefer rebooting from this view. So let's go ahead and do that. So restart. Okay, as I knew would be the case, we're now at the most current version of Grub. Loading the kernel. Okay, we have our login here. It's interesting that the screen is the background's all black. See what our desktop looks like. Okay, the completely default look of Xfce. So we're not getting a themed desktop, which I actually appreciate. I prefer making all my changes myself. My desktops that I ship in my project, Ezarcher, are all shipped with the whatever DE's defaults are. That's what you get. Let's see, settings. We have all the settings, accessories. Whoop, come on. All the accessories, graphics, internet, multimedia. Okay, we don't get VLC. That's good. System. Very nice. Let's run HTOP. Very nice. Look at that memory count. 400 megabytes on a clean install. Very nice. When I install Ezarcher, I usually get about 485, somewhere right below 500. So this is pretty good. You know what? Let's go into appearance. Oh, we don't get a whole lot of choice, do we? Wow. Oh boy, barely any choices. Okay, in order to get some decent look and feel choices, we're gonna have to add them ourselves. Not gonna do that in this video. Let's take a look at, oh, you know what? Let's make this bigger. There you go. Let's take a look at sudo pacman. Now we shouldn't have anything because we did a live online install. Yep, nothing to do. Very good. Let's take a look at, oh, cat. Okay, defaults, very good. Let's take a look at cat. Okay, we're getting all US mirrors, it looks like. That's good since we're in the US. That's pretty cool. Let's take a look at etc pacman.conf. Okay, we're getting testing core extra community testing. Community? Oh boy, that's not good. Community and community testing are no longer valid repositories. That's concerning. That was months ago, many months ago. Arch did away with community. They also actually did away with testing. It's now core testing, extra testing, multilib. They got the multilib testing. Okay. And multilib is uncommented by default. That's good. Why do they have this example? Blue Arch Installer Arch. I wonder if this is the other installer that was in the menu of the live system. Possibly. Don't know. But I'm not liking this, that the pacman.conf is so not current. Okay, that's what it is. So there you have it, folks. Calam Arch Xfce install. You saw we had quite a few choices available to us. 9 different GUI desktop environments. We just chose one. I'm not doing any more. Certainly, I don't like it enough to want to use it, or nor recommend it. I wouldn't recommend Calam Arch because there are better options out there. Actually, I'm a little biased. I produce an option, so of course there are better options out there, right? Take care, stay safe, have fun. You'll see me in another video, folks. Bye-bye.